Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. What's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well out there and enjoying your Wednesday afternoon. Yes, I already know. A lot of y'all are gonna be asking, where were you? What happened to you this morning? You know what I mean? I gotta be honest. The unexpected happened. It never really happens to me. I swear to God, it never happens to me. But I overslept. There it is. I overslept. Woke up, alarms were going off and all that. And it was way past the time for me to wake up and do this show. So, I overslept. There it is, guys. There's the truth of it all. Overslept. My bad. Lo siento. But those things do happen, right? Those things do happen. It has been a long week. It's been a long couple months, to be really honest. But at the same time, I had to jump on here and do at least a little something. And something just recently just popped off. I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, getting myself ready for my day. And I see that they just did a press briefing with this whole situation that happened on the set of Rust, where Alec Baldwin literally fired a gun that had a live round in it. Apparently 3 other people had possession of this gun before they handed it over to Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was practicing a cross draw, from what they're saying. A cross draw like this, a cross draw. I guess he was in his moment, pulled the trigger, unbeknownst to him, pulling the trigger that would fatally kill the DP, Helena Hutchins, and also wound the director of the film, Joe Souza. Now, there is so much to unfold, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have already seen this press briefing, but I have not seen it in all of its glory. And I figured, hey, let's watch it together. Let's see this thing. And then I most likely will be opening up the video chat line so that we can have a panel discussion about this whole situation. And I want to hear your 2 cents on it, because honestly, let's keep it real. Should he see criminal charges or not? We are going to talk about all this stuff. Like I said, apparently the cops are not ruling out criminal charges against Alec Baldwin. Does he deserve to get in trouble or not? That is the question that still remains on the table. All right. So, and I'm going to be asking you guys that question here soon, but there is a good piece here where the sheriff of Santa Fe has said, hey, we're doing our due diligence. There's some other information here that is absolutely shocking, in my personal opinion. That's all I can say about it for right now. Hold on one second. I forgot to do all this other stuff. You know how it is. Got to do all this stuff. And of course, before we jump into all this stuff and look into this video and take a look at all this, please do not forget to hit that like button down below. Of course, hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Join the family, be a part of the family and all that stuff. But we got to jump into this story. We got to jump into this press briefing. It's a little lengthy. I'm going to try to go through as much as we can of this. All right. So without further ado, let us rock and roll.
Prior to Baldwin firing the weapon, these 2 individuals are armorer Hannah Reed Gutierrez and assistant director David Halls. All 3 individuals have been cooperative in the investigation and have provided statements. Over the last few days, our investigative team has been working diligently to conduct interviews, execute search warrants, and collect and process evidence from the scene. During this process, we determined that there were a limited amount of movie set staff present in the area where the actual incident took place, although there were approximately 100 people on set. Through the execution of search warrants, we have collected about 600 items of evidence. These include, but are not limited to, 3 firearms, approximately 500 rounds of ammunition,
Damn.
and several pieces of clothing and accessories. We believe that we have in our possession the firearm that was fired by Mr. Baldwin. This is the firearm we also believe that we have the spent shell casing from the bullet that was fired from the gun. The actual lead projectile that was fired has been recovered from the shoulder of Mr. Souza. The projectile was recovered by medical personnel where he was being treated and turned over to the sheriff's office as evidence. We regard this specific spent casing and recovered projectile to be the live round that was fired from the revolver by Mr. Baldwin. We have recovered what we believe to be possible additional live rounds on set. All the previous mentioned items, along with other items of evidence, will be submitted to the FBI Crime Lab in Quantico, Virginia, for analysis.
All the elements you
gosh.
need.
Gotta love that. They snuck that on us. They snuck that on us.
We are working thoroughly to gather all the facts of the investigation, continue interviews, and further analyze and process the evidence. I want to ensure the victims, their families, and the public that we are conducting a thorough and objective investigation. In reference to possible charges, it's too early right now in the investigation to comment on charges at this point. The investigation will continue, and if the sheriff's office determines during our investigation a crime has occurred and probable cause exists, an arrest or arrests will be made and charges will be filed. Otherwise, we will complete our investigation and forward the full investigation and evidence to the district attorney for review. Before turning it over to the district attorney, I'd like to thank our investigations division for all their hard work and diligence in this case, the Santa Fe County Public Safety Department, EMS, and RACC, and the local FBI office for their support and assistance in this case. Also, the district attorney's office staff that has been working side by side with us during this case. I'd like to introduce First Judicial District Attorney, Mary Carmack Altweiss.
Good morning. My name is Mary Carmack Altweiss, and I am the First Judicial District Attorney. Thank you. Which includes, my jurisdiction includes Santa Fe County. I echo the sentiments of Sheriff Mendoza and want to send my condolences to the family, friends, and tight-knit film community impacted by this tragedy. We mourn the loss of Helena Hutchins and the injury to Joel Sousa. I also specifically want to thank the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department for so thoroughly and actively investigating this incident. Our office appreciates your hard work, and together we will ensure that this investigation is held to the highest standards. I speak to the prosecutorial perspective here, and I must emphasize that a complete and thorough investigation is critical to DA review.
You know, the thing is they said 500 rounds of ammo, right? Now, sorry for that. It just kind of went off in my brain like a grenade, but a little bit of a delayed grenade. But what I find interesting is that 500 rounds of ammo. Now, the way people are looking at this is they're sitting there going, oh my God, 500 rounds of ammo, live ammunition? Well, it's blanks. It's a smattering of different things. God knows if some are it depends on what else is going on. Like, depends on what's in the ammunition. The ammunition could be anything from blanks to actual live bullets. But from what we're understanding right now as well is that they went out target practicing with these prop guns using live ammunition. Hence the reason why, allegedly, there was a bullet still in the gun. Live round in the gun. And that's why now this woman is no longer here on this planet. And somebody said a comment, and I totally agree. This is a perfect example of why you shouldn't cut corners. That's why you pay for the best. That's why you put in the budget so that you have the best of the best on set with you. Because if you have somebody who's a newbie, if you have somebody who's still green, still wet behind their ears, stuff like this happens. Stuff like this will continue to happen if you start to cut corners. Why do you think some of these guys are getting paid top dollar? Because they've been there, done that. They know all the criteria. They know the rules. They know what not to do, what to do, etc. You also got to remember this too. Alec Baldwin was also one of the producers of this movie as well. Is he fully responsible for this? He's overseeing where the money's going. He's overseeing who's getting hired and who's getting fired for this movie. There have been constant issues of this movie on the set of this movie. In fact, we read it a couple days ago. There was an altercation there was a problem where people walked off the set due to quote unquote safety issues. And yet later on that day, they still continued shooting. And now Helena Hutchins is no longer here. And we have an injured filmmaker or injured director from the same bullet. Now, the Pioneer, silly question, did Alec himself pull the trigger? The Pioneer, yes, he most definitely did. He most definitely pulled that trigger. He was practicing a cross draw where you're doing this. You're drawing from this angle, not this. Okay? He was doing a cross draw and he was practicing, thinking. And this is, obviously I was not there, right? But my assumption is, because I'm that kind of guy, if I have an empty gun in my hand or if I have a toy gun, I'm always pulling the trigger for fun, right? Like, you have those toy guns, you just like bang, 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 bang. You're stupid. We're all stupid, right? So he's doing a cross draw, doing a Western cross draw type thing, right? And then when he finally pulls out the gun, he pulls the trigger. Like acting. Probably getting used to pulling the trigger, what it feels like, so he's not struggling to squeeze the trigger. I'm not justifying anything. All I'm saying is I'm just breaking it down. Because I've been on sets many times before and I've been handed guns, right? All the time they've been toy guns because we do stuff in CGI afterwards and special effects later. We do it in post, right? But every single time I've been given a toy gun, I'm just, I'm pulling the trigger like an idiot for fun. You can't help but just click, click, click. And just so you get used to it, you know what the weight of the gun feels like. You know what it feels like to pull the trigger, all that stuff. So that when they say action, you're not looking like an idiot going, wait, why is this trigger's not pulling? This trigger's really sticky, right? So that's what happened. He most definitely pulled this gun, pulled the trigger. Maybe he was joking, right? Hey, Helena, bang, and it literally went off. Her hitting her and the director of the movie. Just saying, does not justify anything. But when we look at it and we wonder, hey, what happened here? Why did this go down? How did he pull this trigger? Why would he have pulled the trigger? Well, this situation, I feel like that's a close breakdown of what could have possibly happened. right?
We take the corroborated facts and evidence and connect it to New Mexico law. And we are not at that juncture yet. If the facts and evidence and law support charges, then I will initiate prosecution at that time. I am a prosecutor that was elected in part because I do not make rash decisions and I do not rush to judgment. I rely on facts supported by evidence, cooperative and credible witnesses, and I cannot stress the importance of allowing the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office to continue with their quality investigation that is both serious and complex. So at this point, we will open it up to questions.
What kind of bullet was found? Sheriff, can we ask you, so you said that a live round was recovered based on the witness interviews that you did.
Hey everyone, I'm Deanna Dunn, and
I hate when it does that. Man, y'all is freaking slick.
Can you tell us what you learned about how live ammunition was on the set and how it made its way into that firearm? We learned that there was possible target practice maybe earlier that day. What have you learned on that front?
So I think what we've learned is we suspect that there was other live rounds that were found on the set. I won't comment further on how they got there. That's still part of this investigation is active, so I won't comment on how they got there. But we suspect that they are there. That will be up. It will be determined when testing is done by the crime lab in reference to whether or not they are officially live rounds or not.
Sheriff, how did two people inspect the Sheriff? How did two people inspect this gun and not notice there was a live round in it?
That's what we're trying to determine. The people that inspected or handled the firearm when it was loaded before it got to Mr. Baldwin, we're interviewing, and there's some follow-up questions that we need to do. So there's further investigation, further interviews, and we're going to try and determine exactly how that happened and if they should have known that there was a live round in that firearm.
Rounds found in other guns.
No, I said there was a total of 500 rounds of ammunition. That is a mix of blanks, dummy rounds, and what we are suspecting live rounds.
Can you imagine that? 500 rounds of dummy rounds, blanks, and live rounds, all possibly mixed up on the same table. On the same table. Like live rounds mixed up with on the same table as dummy rounds and blanks. Can you believe? Like I said, it's all about what you are paying. You are definitely getting what you pay for, period. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to normal. Seemed like I was acting a damn fool. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I'm going to continue. This thing just lost its mind for a second there. All right. Let's continue. But you are definitely getting what you pay for. And when you have somebody who has never done a shoot, never done this is their second movie ever, and they're out there. I mean, like, it's the stupidest things that I've heard right now. Hey, let's go target practicing with live rounds with the actual prop guns. Let's go and do all this stuff where like the stupidity of this situation is astonishing to me. Because here's the thing. If they actually were not cutting corners on the budget and they brought in the best, or they brought in someone who was properly vetted and a lot more prepared and had a lot more stripes on, in their field, this woman would still be alive. The director would not be in the hospital right now. Alec Baldwin would not possibly be seeing criminal charges right now, y'all. Period.
What type of bullet was found in the director's shoulder that was recovered at the hospital?
Well, we know it was a lead projectile. It's still to be determined by the ballistic analysis by the FBI crime lab exactly what the weight of that bullet is. maybe whether or not it was fired from that actual firearm. There'll be the riflings and things will be tested and compared. So there's a lot of testing that needs to be done to ensure that that projectile left that firearm. And
Sheriff,
so that's what we suspect.
Sheriff, as the man who pulled the trigger and as a producer on the movie, does Alec Baldwin himself face the potential of criminal charges? And if the DA could perhaps follow up with that as well.
Good question.
That may be a question better answered by the district attorney.
Let's go.
All options are on the table at this point. I'm not commenting on charges, whether they will be filed or not, or on whom. So the answer is we cannot answer that question yet until we complete a more thorough investigation.
But there is the potential for Alec Baldwin himself to face charges because you have not ruled them out.
No one has been ruled out at this point.
Is Alec Baldwin considered a person of interest right now?
No, that's you.
He's obviously the person that fired the weapon. So we're going to continue interviewing and getting the facts of his statements and the evidence and the case and possible witnesses or anybody that has any information. So right now he is an active part of this investigation.
Is he likely to be re-interviewed?
We hope so. As of right now, everybody is cooperating with statements and interviews.
Sure.
What the next step is? You mentioned this is an ongoing investigation, but specifically for your department, what does that mean specifically? What else do you have to do?
So basically, there are a lot of interviews that have to be done. Okay, we've determined that there were a limited amount of people or movie staff that were actually in the vicinity of the incident. So there's also was approximately 90 people on the movie set itself. So there's a lot of interviews that need to be done still in this case, and that's going to be important. There's a lot of facts that are floating around. I wouldn't say facts, there's maybe facts and rumors that are floating around, and it's our job to figure out if they are facts or rumors.
Action bullet that was fired, not a blank, not a dummy. It was like what people think of when you say bullet.
So we would consider it a live round, a bullet live, because it did fire from the weapon and obviously caused the death of Mr. Hutchin and injured Mr. Souza.
Sheriff,
how much will you take into account the previous accusations of unsafe practices and negligence on other sets? We know you will for this set, but there are reports coming out from Hannah and David of negligence.
Sick of sky-high heating bills every winter?
Man, that's so annoying.
On other sets, how much will you take out of Hannah and David of negligence and unsafe practices on other sets? How much will you take out into account?
Well, that's up to the district attorney to determine how much that's going to weigh, but we are going to follow up on some of those statements that are made, that there were other incidents. We definitely want to speak to anybody that has any information in reference to safety issues on further sets or whether there were other issues. And we would encourage them to call the sheriff's office at 505-986-2490 with any information they may have, so we can get a good idea of what the totality of the circumstances are on this set and what's happening in the industry.
I'm going to say this too. This is not the first time. I mean, obviously this accident happened, right? But this is not the first time that they've had people who were ill-prepared or not fully vetted, or there's been plenty of movies and plenty of sets that have done things that are completely unorthodox or completely against the rules, just so that they can get the picture done. Plenty of movies, plenty. All right. We hear these countless stories of directors forcing actors and actresses to do certain stunts or do certain things that they're not comfortable with. There are plenty of stories out here where sets have been extremely dangerous because they're just trying to get the picture done, or because they have they have to cut corners, right? The budget's going out of whack, going too crazy. They're a million beyond. They've gone past a million past their given budget and all that stuff. There's plenty of people that have plenty of directors and plenty of filmmakers, and that's the whole crew that have done some things just to get the story done, just to get the movie finished and in the can. Plenty. So I'm not surprised that there are other stories out here saying that there are people out here or sets that were unsafe or uncomfortable. I mean, we already hear stories about, other types of accusations that have been out there, salacious things that have been done all day long, right? But this is the first time. I mean, this will not be the first time that we hear this story of, oh, this set was, on this set they did this wrong. On this set they did this wrong, so on and so forth. All right? No matter what, we're going to hear these stories without a shadow of a doubt. Somebody's going to come out and say this for sure and say, hey, wait a second. This other set was really bad. Oh, we really didn't want to. Or, hey, these stunt coordinators, for example, were a brand new company. That was weird, guys. Somehow this whole rig just shut down on me, guys. I'm sorry about that. Let's try this again. It's apparently they don't want me to talk about this story. See, it's getting my dogs upset. You hear that? Dogs are upset about this story. You know what I mean? But let's try that again. That was weird, y'all. Sorry about that. Some weird glitch just went down. All right.
When we get to that point, yes, I will speak to it. I don't know that we are at that point yet, because again, we can't say that it was negligence by whom, how many people were involved. We can't say that with any certainty at this point. So when we get to that point, yes, I will speak to that.
You're obviously Sheriff and you're obviously responsible.
I'm sorry. Can you talk about what caliber of weapon was used?
Okay.
Also, were there chatter about target practicing crew members earlier in the day or the day before? Can you talk more about that?
I will talk in reference to the caliber of the actual weapon that was fired by Mr. Baldwin. That firearm was an F. Lee Pieta long Colt 45 revolver.
Were there other rounds of ammunition in the gun you believe that was fired?
There was other ammunition in the gun that we believe was fired by Mr. Baldwin.
Were those live rounds? Were those live rounds? Any other guns that you recovered? I think that's an important point. Any other live bullets in any of the other guns, including the one that you recovered?
From Alec Baldwin.
As of right now, there were 3 firearms that were located on the set within close proximity to the incident. We're still going to determine. We'll send the firearm that was fired by Mr. Baldwin to the crime lab and do a functionality test. Obviously, it did fire a live round. The other weapon is a single action Army 45 revolver. That one looks like there's some modification to the cylinder and may not be functioning, but that'll be determined by the crime lab. The other firearm is a plastic, non-functioning revolver.
Can you talk about tensions on the set? Reports, people, obviously a crew had walked out and 6 hours before the accident, and people drinking or crew members drinking the night before, lax conditions. Can you talk about that, and specifically, was there tension on the set?
I won't talk about specifics, but we are aware of those rumors or those statements that have been made, and we're going to do the best to track those down.
Sheriff, can you confirm where the camera was rolling when the shot was fired?
There was a search warrant that was issued in reference to any camera footage. There was camera footage, but I can say that there was no footage of the actual incident.
Sheriff, for clarity, how much is Mr. Alec Baldwin's role as a producer factor into the investigation? How much responsibility do you think he actually had as a producer, and how this?
I think once we gather all the statements of fact, once we do all the interviews, then that will be weighed by the district attorney to see exactly, what weight that's going to give in reference to her decision to making charges. Not at this time.
Sheriff, can you please give us an update on Alec Baldwin in particular from law enforcement view, how he's been so far?
Just generally, he has been cooperative in this investigation.
Can you describe his demeanor when he?
I won't comment on my perception of his demeanor.
Him not to talk to press? For clarity,
I won't comment on that.
For clarity, was it a live round or a suspected live round?
I'll say right now, until it's proven by the crime lab, it's a suspected live round that was fired, but it did fire from the weapon and it did cause injury. So that would lead us to believe that it was a live round.
Sheriff, can you speak to just the idea of public safety here on movie sets? Sheriff, you're obviously responsible for safety in this county. Just curious about your thoughts about the use of real weapons on the sets of movies.
Well, obviously, I think the industry has had a record recently of being safe. I think there was some complacency on this set, and I think there are some safety issues that need to be addressed by the industry and possibly by the state of New Mexico, but I'll leave that up to the industry and the state to determine what those need to be.
So 2 of the 3 guns were non-functioning guns.
Is there precedent for a case like this in Santa Fe County where you have somebody who fired a gun, did it clearly accidental, he thought it was a cold gun, but other people loaded that gun where it's kind of not the person who actually fired it, but could be held liable? Is there any kind of precedent for a case like this in your county?
No, no, there's no precedent whatsoever.
To your investigation, I mean, this is it's a tricky legal battle.
It is a very complex case. It will require lots of legal research and analysis and review. That's what my team is here for, and that's how we're assisting the sheriffs at this point. That said, again, we don't know how that's going to play in until we get that complete investigation.
Sheriff, question for you. Sheriff, 2 of the 3 guns.
Sheriff, was the projectile taken from the director's shoulder, removed from the director's shoulder? Is that the same projectile that killed Elena Hutchins?
We will leave that up to the Office of Medical Investigator to determine, but it's apparently the same round.
Sheriff,
Wow.
2 of the 3. Sheriff, can I ask you?
That's crazy. So then they must have been really close. Like all 3 of them must have been really close together. You see what I'm saying? They had to have been. That's insane, y'all. That's insane.
Whether there was target practice on set, are you investigating whether people were recreationally shooting on the ranch property aside from filming?
We are aware of those statements, and we are investigating whether or not that is true or it isn't true. And I would encourage anybody that has any information that any target practicing or any firearm was discharged away from the movie set or for practice or for whatever reason to contact the sheriff's office.
Sheriff, 2 of the 3 guns were non-functioning. What do you think happened here then?
I'm sorry?
You said 2 of the 3 guns appeared to be non-functioning on that table. What do you think unfolded that afternoon?
Well, I think the facts are clear. A weapon was handed to Mr. Baldwin. The weapon is functional and fired a live round, killing Ms. Hutchins and injuring Mr. Souza.
You know, in the latest search warrant that was just released through the magistrate's office, it notes that Hannah Gutierrez Reed and Joel and the AD that handed the gun all said live rounds should never be on set. Yet there clearly were live rounds on set. So this feels almost like a false statement to police. If the armor is going to say that there should never be a live round on set, yet there was, what's your next step as a law enforcement investigator?
We know there was 1 live round as far as we're concerned on set. We're going to determine whether we suspect that there were other live rounds, but that's up to the testing. But right now, we're going to determine how those got there, why they were there, because they shouldn't have been there.
Is there a timeline of your investigation? Mexico, or is he left to safety or any of the other crew members who are involved in this?
I'm sorry, who were you asking
Alec
about?
Baldwin, he left New Mexico, or is he still here so we can interview him, or is he?
He's been cooperative. I'm not exactly sure of his presence whereabouts.
Can you talk about the path of the gun that was fired, how it wound up on the cart, and what you know about the chain of custody before it was picked up by the assistant director?
Yeah, I won't talk about the specifics of that. That's still being investigated.
Sheriff, just for clarity, were there multiple rounds in that weapon?
That this may, wrap up and we'll get more information about whether charges may be filed?
Yeah, I'll stay away from an actual timeline. I know, based on what I said, there's several individuals that need to be interviewed, and from those interviews comes new information that we need to track down. So I don't want to put a timeline on it. I want everybody to know that we're working diligently. Our investigative team is to wrap this up thoroughly and completely. And so there is no timeline. We want to get all the facts, get all the statements, and present that to the district attorney's office for review.
Okay. We get the general idea. All right. Clearly, they are doing their investigation. They're doing everything they can to find out all that went down. They believe they have the gun that fired the round. They also have over 500 pieces of ammo. 500, though. 500 pieces of ammo that are dummy rounds, blank rounds, and live rounds. Let me just say this again. 500 rounds. That means a nice little mix, a cornucopia, jambalaya, if you will, of bullets that range from dummy rounds, blank rounds, and live rounds that were all in the same area together. With also guns that were fake guns, modified guns, and actual guns that could actually fire a live round if it was loaded with a live round. What they're saying right now is that there was a piece of lead. They're not even saying it's a bullet right now. All they're saying is that there was a piece of lead that was taken out of Joel Souza's wound, I guess his shoulder, right? He was shot in the shoulder. And they can't determine whether it is a bullet or if it's like a piece of shrapnel, like just a piece of projectile that came out of maybe a blank round. But remember, even when you are shooting a blank, they say that people need to step back at least, I think they said something around 15 to 16 feet away from that person who's firing a blank round, because a blank round can still kill somebody. A blank round can still hurt somebody, right? Now, Kev Z, yes, I totally understand that a bullet is lead, but they're saying that it's just lead. They're not even saying whether or not it's a bullet or not. Now, obviously, when I hear lead, I'm going, mother lover, that's a bullet. But you never know. It could be a piece of whatever that was lodged in there. Anything's possible, right? So we can't really say instantly, oh, it's a bullet. If they're sitting there saying, we don't know what it was yet, then I'm going to just step back and let them do what they need to do and give us the actual facts. Now, I'll say this. I do believe that it was a live round. This is from what they're saying. This is what they're saying in reports. This is what they're saying as far as the conversation that's been out there before the Sheriff Mendoza came out to speak at this presser. They have been basically saying that it was a live round in the gun. I do believe so. But I'll wait to see what the medical examiner says or forensics or whatever they say, right? That what they say about it. My personal opinion, I think it's a bullet, for crying out loud, right? That's what I think. But I could be wrong. We could be wrong. Anything's possible. If they went out and shot with this gun, anything's possible. I do believe it's a live round. Some idiot left it in there, didn't even go and do their due diligence, making sure that every single gun was empty when they put it back onto into the, I don't know if they had a trailer filled with guns or if it's a table where they display all the guns out. We don't know. We just don't know. In my personal opinion, I feel like this is somebody who was very stupid, very green, didn't even know what they were doing, did some very idiotic stuff like saying, hey guys, let's go target practicing because it's going to give you an opportunity to learn how to shoot the gun and feel the weight of the gun and how it kicks back and all that stuff. And yet they didn't even use separate guns. They actually used the props that they were using for the movie called Rust. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Then on top of it, this projectile, he was at least close enough to to Helena and Joe Souza. He was close enough that bullet traveled through her chest out the other end to go into Joe Souza's shoulder. That's how close he was. That's how close range he was. It was almost as if, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, okay, cameras weren't rolling, so they were obviously talking about some other things, right? They were chopping it up about whatever, maybe doing some blocking, maybe they're talking about the angle or how he was going to pull the gun and all that stuff, right? So he all of a sudden, maybe he's practicing the shot. Hey, you're going to cross draw here and blah, right? But like an idiot, he points the gun straight at Helena and, joking around, pulls the trigger, or practicing, pulls the trigger, and it goes off. Like I said, not justifying anything here at all. I'm just playing the points and seeing what are the possibilities of this, right? What are the possibilities? How did this go down? Who did what they did? How could this possibly have gone down? I'm thinking that they did a practice run. She and the director, maybe the director standing right behind her. He's like, yeah, I want to see this angle and let me see what I can do with this. And nah. Oh, this is going to be epic with this kind of shot. Right? And then he pulls the trigger. Now, see, okay, I need you to stand. Okay, you're going to stand in front of me here, stand here. You're going to cross draw, pull the gun so that the gun is like really just intensely in the camera, whatever it may be. And then pull the trigger, boom, now pulls the trigger. Now the girl's on the floor dead. And Joe Souza is, clutching his shoulder because he's just been shot in the shoulder. It's so wild to me. It's so wild to me that this even has gone down, that this is even a story. But this all goes down to the people who are running the show. And the thing is Alec Baldwin completely to blame? Should he be catching a charge? Should he be catching a case right now or not? Whose fault is it? I have my StreamYard link open. Love to have an open discussion with you guys. All right. Hop on. Love to hear your thoughts about this situation because, like I said, this is so strange. This is so wild to me, y'all, that this story is even happening. But like I said, this is what happens when you cut corners. If you're going to cut corners, make sure it's on craft services, not on some of the most important elements that keep your show not only safe, not only just safe, but also productive. I mean, shoot, if it ends up being like, hey, man, like All we can afford after we pay off all these crew members is grilled cheese sandwiches and handfuls of Snickers bars or something like that, or Skittles, then fine. It is what it is, as long as the people are safe. But you don't cut corners and bring in a girl or a person who has no experience whatsoever, just so you can cut corners. That is just ridiculous to me, y'all. Ridiculous. Kev Z 247, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. At the end of the day, we know the safety on the set was trash. I absolutely agree. But that's the thing. That's called not paying what people are asking for. Not paying what is rightfully deserved. You got an armorer that's only done one other picture beforehand, and all the things that were happening around the set before this incident happened, she is just sitting there going, let's go target practicing, and with the prop guns. Oh, here's how you hold the gun. You see, you have it in your hand already. This is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. No practice, no rehearsals, no safety, gun safety tutorials, classes, and all that before the shooting of this movie. No, nothing. They just went on the set and just started shooting. Sorry for all these puns, but shooting from the hip. And just said, hey, she's the daughter of some known dude that's known with his weaponry. No big deal. It's all good. We're in good hands because she comes from a family of whatevers. Yet this is her second movie ever. And she's running around doing very, very stupid things. And then leaving what was supposed to be a quote unquote cold gun, leaving a live round in that mug. Sarah AP, you know what? It could have well have been nepotism. We don't know. Well, welcome to Hollywood. Hollywood's like this, y'all. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna bring in, it's Tom Hanks' son, so let's just give him the part. He's a known DP, and his daughter is trying to get into the business too, and she's willing to take a pay cut. Here we go. Just give her the pay cut. Everything's all right. It'll be fine. Nepotism does exist in Hollywood for sure. But just because you have somebody who came from the loins of a veteran does not mean that person, that child, that offspring is going to know exactly what the hell they're supposed to be doing on set. They're going to do some stupid ish like what this particular armorer was doing. Hey, let's just go out and fire off a few rounds with the prop guns. Let's do all this stupid stuff. Let's go play rather than no. Rather than, hey, let's take this job very seriously because, people's lives are in my hands. And I've said it before. This is a crucial thing, right? There has to be a procedure. But there are procedures. That's why the assistant director said, cold gun. There is a criteria, right? There are a set of rules when you're dealing with guns and ammo. But it's like, I feel like they need to look into this situation even more to make sure that things are a little bit more, make sure precautions are even much tighter than what they are. Because look at what's going on. You get it from the armorer or wherever hands it to whoever handed it to him, handed it to the assistant director. The assistant director hands the gun to Alec Baldwin saying cold gun. Why was that? Why didn't they look in the chamber every single time? Why didn't they open it up, look into the chamber, make sure there was no bullets in the chamber of any type, closed it, handed it to him, open it up, make sure it's empty? I mean, there's needs. I know that's like overkill, but rather overkill than actually killing somebody, than a freak accident that happened here. Like I said, the link is still up above. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. Love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? Should he be facing criminal charges or no? What are your thoughts on this? Hop on. Let's chop it up. Let's have a convo, y'all. As you see, the press brief, the press conference, basically saying they have gotten a 500 plus. They have 500 pieces of ammo that range from live to blanks in their possession. Why was there live rounds chilling in the cut alongside dummies and blank bullets? Why? Like I said, it all goes down to the situation of somebody wanting to cut corners so that they can save a little bit of money, so that they can put that towards the actors or whatever. But let's be real. You don't cut corners when it comes to stuff that is that serious. Then you have somebody dead on the set. It's crazy. I do agree that there is, the nepotism is real. Nepotism is real everywhere, y'all. I mean, let's be real. Some people are like I've been watching Succession lately like a mug. All right. There is nepotism like crazy. It has nothing to do with if that person even has experience or not. It just happens to be like they're married into the business or they're born into the business, and then they just get a free ride just because they happen to be such and such's son or son-in-law or mother, daughter-in-law or daughter. It has nothing to do with experience anymore. It gets thrown right out the damn window. Real talk. Real talk. And then they just figure it out as they go. And this is exactly what happened here. Hey, she's the daughter of such and such. She's willing to do it on the cheap. This is an opportunity for her to cut her teeth on this movie so that she can do more. And then next thing you know, boom, this thing happens. Because they were cutting corners and trying to save some mother-loving money. We got Laura Estrada in the house. How you doing, Laura?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Well, it's interesting. I've been observing this forever, and it's one of those things where I used to work in production, and this was another lifetime, and on Sunset Boulevard for a production company. And I think if you haven't been in the industry or you haven't done theater or on set, it's really hard for people to understand just how many things go on pre-production. I read in the chat, and it's Alec Baldwin's a murderer and all these conspiracies. And I mean, I get it. There's people, I mean, if you don't know a certain industry, you have your opinion and everything. It's just, there is tons of nepotism in Hollywood. It's just as bad as DC. I mean, it's sad because I watched at that time how cutting corners affects the industry, but I'm really, really sad at how aware I am of it now, because this is every actor, every set of any kind of action movie you've ever seen. This is the worst scenario. This is what they are trying to make not happen. I mean, you can go through all of movie history. of the reason why you have certain laws now, as in you guys have, I forgot what it was. It was either the Twilight Zone movie or some movie back in the day where on a set with a helicopter um, scene or something, the pilot and two of the actors died and got beheaded, and there's rules now because of that movie. So this has always been something the industry is aware of, but now in this day and age, you realize there's so much money to be had with effects and everything that you couldn't spend some money on the safety or your prop manager, and nepotism came in it, and it was, oh, George's daughter, she's interning, let's get her, and just because her name is so associated with so and so, she has, I mean, the one area you want to be so OCD on, sorry, is something when it comes to safety and guns. And
Facts.
this is really, really just an eye opener of how, yeah, in Hollywood, it's just apparent, but it goes to show you with everything, if people will get the chance to take advantage of other people, they will, and this is what happens.
You know, I think it's interesting because, you know, I've been on a multitude of sets as well, and you know, have had my hand, you know, behind the scenes on stuff, and I think it's interesting when you see how people, how the production takes certain things seriously, like how they take it, right? When it comes to gun safety, when it comes to how to handle a gun, when it comes to even a simple stage slap or a punch, fight choreography, all that stuff. I mean, there's always a call. Like even when you're doing a play, there's always a call. You know, 45 minutes before curtain, where they will literally do a fight choreography call, and they'll just run through stuff over and over and over again. The same stuff that they've been doing over and over again on the set or on that in that play. They will run it over and over again because they don't want people to get hurt. They don't want people to get lazy and complacent and think that, oh, well, you know, no big deal. I just throw a punch, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you are throwing a punch that could possibly hurt somebody. If you are lazy and not controlling yourself, you could hurt that person.
Exactly.
Same thing with that comes with a film, you know, when you're on a film set, you know, the importance of knowing what kind of action you are getting yourself involved in, what kind of gun you are holding, what kind of weapon, if it's a knife, so on and so forth. The importance of knowing how and what you are using and how to use it properly is crucial. And when you don't have somebody who's the lead, when you don't have somebody who's leading this situation, like your weapons expert or your armorer, if you have somebody who is lazy, possibly, or green, wet behind the ears, that has no idea what the hell they're doing, it turns into a cluster F. It becomes literally like the Wild Wild West.
Of course it is. I mean, you have to think about it all year. I'm sorry.
And then everything just is being shot from the hip. And if you have somebody who is the leader of that department running amok, running around and acting like nothing, like it's all no big deal, how is the rest of the set, how's the rest of the crew supposed to take, how are they supposed to continue on if you have the person who is taking this over, right, who is taking care of the weapons, taking care of the the precious artillery. If they're acting nonchalant, then the set is going to treat those weapons nonchalantly as well. That's what I was trying to say. But Laura, go ahead.
I was going to say that you think of every single solitary action film or Lord of the Rings or down to Hunger Games or anything, that the whole point is that you are creating an atmosphere of belief. So even any little scene with someone using just a switchblade really fast, like they have gone through everything to make that look as realistic. And whether that is a fake knife or anything like that, there's going to be a part where they're so into the character and they might jab you the wrong way. So there's safety things, skills that you've learned as an actor, as a prop person, but the confidence that that actor has when that prop master hands it to them and goes action is that I'm going to be able to be in my character and this and that's. The last thing on my mind is that I'm going to hurt somebody and that I'm going to hurt my character. And that's even what happens when you watch those scenes and they all have swords and they're extras and there's the real people. I mean, the actors, and there's, even if it's fake, it is still a weapon. It could still be used to hurt somebody. But everyone has to understand that there has been precautions and rehearsals, and that this laziness is just absolutely, it shouldn't even be a thought. It shouldn't even be a conversation. That's what you're paying the big bucks for. That's what all that budget is for, to make that movie. That's a huge chunk of budget goes towards your props and your safety. So this is just it's a huge, like, the industry has to take a real good look at what's going on here, because this is not, this is our entertainment. Like, live, like, this shouldn't even be something we think about, that people can get killed on set. It happens, but it shouldn't happen at all.
It always seems to be freak accidents, right? They never actually come out like this and say maybe something's vibrating. It's not like it's always something where, I mean, it's always just like a freak accident, right? Because they are not like fully prepared, or or it's something freakishly random happens on set. But this one, yes, it's still a freak accident, but there are so many things that could have been avoided before this happened, right? Like, I understand, like, if you're doing wire work and the wire snaps, right? While that person's in the middle of the air, those kind of things do happen. Those freakish things do happen. But when you have somebody who has control over the weapons, going out and doing target practice with those guns, bringing them back, and not even doing their due diligence to go through all of those weapons to make sure every single thing either that is being put into the chamber or taken out of the chamber is a blank or a dummy, there's no freak accident there.
Yeah,
there's someone to blame. There is someone to blame. But still, my question is, should Alec Baldwin be catching a case right now? Should Alec Baldwin be looking down the barrel of a criminal charge? Pun intended.
Honestly, I think as a producer, he's responsible for the being a producer and having in budget and hiring. That's where his fault is with me. As an actor, as somebody who committed murder, no. I mean, no. That's what I'm saying. People need to be educated as to how the pre-production and stuff works. I mean, I get it. You gotta take away a little bit of the magic, but we all know it's make believe, and that's why we go there when we enjoy it. So you have to realize that he when he signs on to these things and he's a producer, he's also responsible for a whole other side of the movie, and everyone is viewing him as an actor, and an actor that did something that is a freak accident for him. But as a producer, he's very much responsible for that, and that's what he's getting. That's why he's hiring attorneys and all that. He knows that part of it. That's a reality that he can't avoid.
Right. I think that when it comes to this, outside of he was just handed a gun, and you're right. Everyone's looking at him as it is him as the actor. Well, wait a second. He also is a producer on this movie. So he has control over how the money was being spent on this picture. Obviously, he's sitting there going, hopefully he's going to make his money back and then some, overseas, or it maybe gets picked up by Netflix, or maybe it's a movie that goes straight into the theaters. We don't know what the plan was with this particular movie. But at the same time, though, he did hire every single he was one of the people that hired every single person on that set, including that armorer, including the person that was in control of the weapons. I am a little bit vexed when I'm thinking about or talking about, when I've been ruminating about this idea, right? Should he catch a criminal charge? Well, if this was any other person, if this was just some random guy out in the street and there was a freak accident that happened, wouldn't that person be charged, regardless if he was a named actor or not? And let's not say about the gun. Let's just say it's some other accident that happens, right? It's a car accident or something of that sort. No one has the intention of actually killing a person, right? The intention of killing somebody. Like, say, I'm not saying this is drug or alcohol induced. I'm just saying a car accident that happened.
Yeah, exactly.
That person would still be facing charges. Still.
I never thought about that. It goes
Think
to
about
show
it.
you again, even though I'm thinking that, I'm still thinking of him as Alec Baldwin,
Right.
not putting myself into, yes, that those accidents happen. You accidentally, yeah.
Now,
Great point.
Now, the Pioneer just said something that, let me just point this out. He said, if it is a true accident, I'm not sure a person should be charged with a crime. Sure. I agree. Not everyone should be charged with the crime if it was a true accident. I agree, but they still get charged.
Yeah, and
They probably still have to be. They still probably have to go into be tried in front of a jury of their peers, and they still probably have to sit there and make their, defend their honor. But at the same time, they still catch a case. So with this situation, even though he's Alec Baldwin and all that stuff, if he was just a regular ass civilian and an accident did happen, he would still be caught. If they decided to look at this as a homicide of some sort, or slap him on the face with manslaughter or something of that sort, we have to look at it like that, as if he was a regular civilian. Because at the end of the day, without all that makeup,
he is.
Without all that money, he'd still be a regular ass human being. He is a human. So he should be charged.
He should. Then you make a case that I can't fight it. I mean, it's true. You strip away that, and that's why that's what our democracy and everything is about. That he has to still go to court, even to plead that whole thing. So we could strip away the fame and all that and see him as somebody who, to keep his honor, he can't use his fame for this. But everybody has to remember that, because again, this is where even if he is Alec Baldwin and we see him that way, media and even just people like, your attorneys and your judges, like how they view it, it makes you really step back and go, okay, in this case, what is the right thing to do? And it is to treat him as a civilian, and thus he gets tried as a civilian.
Also, I also want to point this out too. It also depends, because I mean, here it is. Not everyone's going to agree with what we're saying, what we're talking about right now. So some people are going to sit there and go, no, let him, let him live. It was an accident. But still, like I said, if you take out the glamorous, you take out the glamour, you take out the, the flashing lights and all that stuff, and you put him as a regular human being, not with some crazy bombastic lifestyle, he still would be tried. He still would have to fight for his innocence. Unless, and it also depends on what happens with the family, what the Hutchins want to do with this whole situation. They just lost their mother, a wife. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? She brought more to this world than just being able to keep things in focus and make really pretty pictures. She brought life into this world. She has a family. She is a wife, all that stuff. She is now no longer here. There's a soul that is gone because of somebody's negligence on that set. This is the thing I'm going to point out as well. One last thing. It also goes down with the investigation of what happened before the gun was handed to Alec Baldwin. Did Alec Baldwin know that they were out shooting guns, playing target practice the day before, if not hours before, they went on set to shoot that scene and fatally kill that young woman.
Yeah.
If he knew about all that stuff, catch a charge, period.
Exactly.
Catch a damn charge, y'all. This mother lover should be locked up then. If he's going to be that negligent on set, like I said, if there is proper investigation within this and there's proof without a shadow of a doubt that he knew that they were using those guns to shoot off and act a damn fool beforehand, then yes, he should be catching a charge. One last thing. I got one more thing. I'm sorry. I lied when I said one more thing, but here's my last other point. The other thing, why did they walk off set? Because of quote unquote safety reasons. Why was there a problem? Why was there a rift the same day that this young woman died? Did Alec Baldwin know about this stuff? You can't sit here and say he didn't know about them walking off. Damn right, he knew what was going on.
He so did.
See? So no matter what, there is negligence of some sort, and he plays a hand in that negligence. He plays a part in that negligence. So he would definitely be catching a charge unless he's paying somebody off. He does have deep pockets, but I don't think he's going to be able to walk away from this unscathed. Trust and believe. He ain't walking away from this unscathed. Laura, what are your thoughts?
Especially now, because I feel right now that we kind of need a monster. Everybody needs just a villain, just Brian Laundrie. He's no longer our focus.
Right.
And we're all lit up right now. We're all true crimed out right now.
Right.
We're hungry for this stuff.
We're all Sherlock Holmes up in this.
Yes, of course. But
Right.
you also bring up a huge, like a really good reflection of nepotism too. Oops, did I lose you?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
I'm here. You're good.
Just the thought now of where's this gonna go, and now we're all invested, and I really am just kind of second guessing my whole thought about Alec Baldwin. Like it just goes to show you, how are they even going to investigate it? Are they gonna, right when you said he has deep pockets, just because, I mean, I see the conspiracy theories, or maybe it's, Trump Jr. wants to get back, or blah, 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 him playing Trump. Okay, everybody needs to get away from that. But it doesn't mean that when someone's in trouble that's famous, that they're not going to be making calls for connections to help clean up this. I mean, he's an actor. It's his reputation, and there's all that whole side. So I can understand when he's faced with some really life-changing stuff, that he is gonna try to make some calls, try to talk to so that whole element of it, I get it, where that could be scandal and that could be dirty, but the whole, it's gonna get mixed up with Trump and MAGA and how he played Trump. It's already there.
It's already there for sure. And actually, it's funny that you say that, because Lady Justice, good morning or good afternoon, Lady Justice, but she said something that she was responding to somebody else, but I found it very interesting as well. And it's just the last half of this. But as an advocate, I find it ironic to even act in films you don't exercise gun safety on. And I do agree. He is an advocate for gun safety, all this stuff. But then now he is involved with a murder because of the lack of gun safety on the set of his own movie that he's actually producing and starring in. You see what I'm saying? So I totally agree.
Crazy. Thank you, Lady Justice. That was a great point.
Ironic and hypocritical as all get out. He'll sit there and say, he'll say his hardcore, whatever, liberal rhetoric of, hey, gun safety all day long, blah, blah, blah. But then when you do a movie where it's heavily gun heavy, it is a Western. Of course, there's going to be guns involved. You don't even do the due diligence of bringing in the right people to make sure that gun safety is the number one thing that you are leaning on to make sure that this movie goes off without a hitch.
Yeah.
And now you got this situation where you got a young woman no longer here anymore. Doesn't make any sense. And no, I do not think this is Illuminati. I don't think that this is all some other stuff you up in this piece. I really do feel that this was a freak accident, but it's because of negligence and because of cutting corners. At the end of the day, this is what happens when you try to go for the cheap seats.
Yep.
You get really low quality situations and you end up with somebody dead on a set. Laura, I want to say a big thank you for being on. I appreciate you coming on and
No problem. Thank you. Have a great day, Pascal.
You too, sweetheart. Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye. But there you guys have it, y'all. Let's keep it real. All right. Should he be catching a criminal charge? In my personal opinion, yes. Now, how he handles the situation later on, that's up to him. And that's up to his esquires, okay? And making sure his esquires esquire the hell out of this situation. But it looks like they are still looking at the cops, all right? The law enforcement, the powers that be, are still looking at the possibility of him catching a charge, a criminal charge. What that charge is, we don't know yet. We still don't know yet. I can't answer it because I don't know. But at the same time, let's be real. There was an incredible amount of negligence going on that set. And if you are the producer of that movie, not just the star of the movie, but one of the producers of the movie, you should be completely up to date and properly abreast of what's going on your set. And if the law enforcement do their due diligence and they sleuth the hell out of what happened on that set, they're going to find that there was some sort of negligence going on that set. And it's not only going to be on Alec Baldwin. It's going to be on the other producers. It's going to be all on the other people that were involved with this shooting, including that armorer. That woman, sorry, should be catching a charge too. Let's keep it straight funky. All right? That's just what I think. If this was some regular civilian situation, we would be hearing these people catching criminal charges without a shadow of a doubt, without even thinking twice. So there it is, guys. That is the show this afternoon. Like I said, I'm sorry about earlier today. I overslept. Okay? But I will be back on in a couple hours because I do have a story that I want to talk about, that I want to cover. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to be popping up live this evening to talk about it because it is a wild story. I don't know if I'm going to do it as a pop-up video or if I'm going to do it as a live. I'm still trying to figure that out right now as we speak, but this is some crazy stuff. And this story, I covered it just the other day. Now there's new developing information about this story, revolving around this story. And we got to talk about it for real. DJ Exclusive, what's up, man? What's up, Bubba? How you doing, man? Hopefully you're doing well, enjoying your day off as well. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to have a day off. My ass just overslept up at this piece, man. Shoot. But anyway, guys, don't forget to hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. And of course, we got that Patreon, or you can join the YouTube membership. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of monies. You know what I'm saying? Big Metal fan. Get out of here, Bubba. I'm done, man. But hit that join button, or you can join the Patreon and become a patron of this show. That would be greatly appreciated. I will be on a little bit later on. Like I said, I will be talking and chopping it up with y'all here very, very soon this evening. So be on the lookout for that, because we got to talk about some stuff that has just recently been popping off, and it's unfreaking believable. I'm going to say that. Okay. So I'll be talking to you guys soon. It's time to get going. Oh, follow me on Twitter, dagnabbit, The Pascal Show, one word. Hit that. Oh, and follow me on Instagram, The Pascal Show, one word as well. I can't even talk anymore. You see what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. Anyway, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I will see you guys in a couple hours. Hopefully you guys aren't going to be, holding your breath for those hours. If you do that, you might die. So don't do that. Breathe. And I'll see you guys in a couple hours. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.